Hi guys, I've got a question for you. Do you ever feel frustrated by your boss or your clients? I bet the answer is yes. We all feel a little frustrated from time to time, don't we? But do we blame them? Do we blame them for frustrations in our own job? Do we see it as their fault that we can't implement the kind of digital changes that we want to? Do we blame them for the fact that the organisation is not more digitally friendly? If you do, I want to tell you a quick story. I was recently presenting to a massive organisation, 27,000 employees this organisation had, and I was presenting to the various web professionals across that organisation. And I was giving a passionate, enthusiastic presentation talking about how their organisation needed to change if they were going to fully embrace all digital had to offer them. And I got to the end of the presentation and overall people were really behind me. They were really fired up, really enthusiastic about bringing about change. But as is always the case, they had questions and they had comments. And in the Q&A time, somebody made a comment that really struck me, really stood out from the rest. And the comment was, "This is all well and good, but you need to tell our bosses." Now, what was quite interesting was that very afternoon I was meeting with their bosses to give a very similar presentation. So I got a chance to do what that dissenting voice wanted. And so in the afternoon I gave the same or very similar passionate presentation about the need for digital change, the need to change your organisation to work in the new digital reality. And again it went down well and people were fired up and enthusiastic. And I got to the end of the session and there was a Q&A time again, and one person made a comment. "This is all well and good, but you need to tell our bosses." Exactly the same comment. And what is so fascinating is that even the boss felt that they were constrained, that they didn't have the power to make changes. And I can tell you something from my long years of experience, that no matter how high in that organisation I'd gone, they would have all felt constrained. Even the very top. Even the senior board members of a company have got shareholders to take into account. They've got analysts' projections to meet. They've got bonus targets to work towards. They've got constraints too. None of us are free. We all have bosses. We all have someone we've got to keep happy. And I think that's a really important lesson to learn, because I think as web professionals, we can often blame our clients or blame our bosses for our frustrations. But the reality is no one is free from constraints. No one is unfrustrated. And what it takes is any one of us at any level to step up and begin to bring about change. But there's a subtler lesson here as well. It's really interesting that in both cases, those people said to me, "I want you to go and present to my bosses. I want you to tell my bosses." Why me? Why not them? In their minds, I was the expert. I was the one that could go in with authority and tell their bosses that things had to change. But really, I've got no more expertise than anyone else. I've got no more right to record these videos, to do any of this kind of stuff than anyone else. Sure, I've been doing it a long time, but what does that really count for in the fast-moving, changing world of the web? I don't have any qualifications in web design. There was no such thing when I was studying. So really, I've got no more authority than anyone else. What's different about me is that I'm willing to stand up and say the things you shouldn't say. I'm willing to challenge the status quo, and I'm willing to put together a strong business argument to do it. The question is, are you? Are you willing to spend the time and effort to put together a strong argument? And then are you willing to stand out, to be a maverick, to challenge the status quo in your organisation, to try and get stuff done? I think it's so easy to sit back with the victim mentality and go, "I can't change anything. You need to talk to my boss. I can't do anything." washing your hands of the situation. But I want to challenge you that you need to take action, that you need to be the one to instigate change, because if you wait for your boss, it's never going to happen.